guys! So today I am going to be talking about my May favorites and also some things that I haven't really been enjoying this month. I thought that it would be nice to include those things as well because I've tried out a few new things this month that just didn't really work with me and I wanted to mention them. And I'm also going to talk about some non-beauty favorites at the very end. So yeah, let's just get started. I've been trying out a lot of different primers lately. I'm trying to find specifically a nice mattifying primer that can control my oil throughout the day, and I've tried these three. So I mentioned this in my last April favorites video, but I wanted to mention it again because it has been a favorite of mine this month as well. And this month I've noticed that it actually does a really good job of controlling my oil throughout the day. When I used this and my CoverGirl 3-in-1 foundation, I found that my skin was really matte throughout the day. I just found that it really did a nice job of controlling my oil and I didn't find myself having to blot throughout the day. I think that this primer would be really great for people with oily skin that also has visible pores because it does a really nice job of really blurring out your pores and controlling your oil. The next primer is a brand new thing that I've tried this month. This is the Makeup Forever Step 1 Skin Equalizer Mattifying Primer. I got this because Hey Claire on YouTube said that this was a really good primer for controlling your oil, mattifying your face, blah 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 blah. And I've been trying it out for the past few weeks and honestly I feel like it just doesn't control my oil throughout the day or keep me matte at all. I find that this is just another primer that just smooths out my skin, but that's it. And this has a very interesting texture to it. It kind of almost feels like a gel. It kind of dries really quickly. It settles into your skin very quickly, so I find that you have to really work fast with the primer or else what you will get is a bunch of flakes building up on your skin as you rub it in. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't feel like this was a good mattifying primer. I don't think that it's worth the money. This was like $40 something and I just don't think it's worth it. In my opinion, it just didn't work for me. And then we have the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser Primer. I've been using this for a couple of months, but I never really mentioned it in a video, so I want to mention it now since I'm talking about primers. This is supposed to be an instant pore eraser. This has that silicone texture to it. It's very slippery. And because of that, I feel like this would be good for people with dry skin and not for oily skin because it just feels really greasy, and although it does do a good job of like smoothing out your skin and making it feel nice and smooth, I feel like it makes me look more oily than if I weren't using this primer. So I don't recommend this for oily skin, but maybe for dry skin it would be good. Now I picked this up. This is the Benefit the Porefessional Agent Zero Shine Vanishing Pro Powder, and I heard a lot of good things about this from different YouTubers. This has a very interesting packaging. It's actually really cute. It's a loose powder, so the powder comes out from here and you can put it into the cap, and then it has a mini brush, very small brush, but basically this would be really great for traveling, to put in your purse, to touch up throughout the day. I got this in the hopes of having this as like a touch-up powder that I could use throughout the day, and honestly I tried it out a few times and I really wasn't impressed by the finish of it. I tried this one day after a work shift and it hadn't touched up at all, so I decided to use this powder, and honestly I feel like it just clings to dry patches. It does mattify your face, I guess, but I don't think that it would be an ideal touch-up powder. Even using this for setting my makeup right after I do my foundation and stuff, I still find that it clings to dry patches. I wanted to mention this concealer, the Rimmel Wake Me Up concealer, and I've been using this for the past couple of months as well, and I hadn't really talked about this concealer yet on my channel, so I wanted to mention it. I find that this isn't a good concealer for covering up your dark circles. If you did have dark circles, I feel like this has very sheer coverage, so I wouldn't use it for that purpose. But what I do think this is a good concealer for is highlighting. If you want to brighten up your face a little bit in this area or on your forehead, the bridge of your nose and stuff like that, I think that this is a good concealer for that. I have it in the shade very fair, and I think that this color is good for highlighting, but not anything else. Continuing on with some face products, I wanted to mention this blush. This is the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso, and you've probably heard about this blush, I'm sure, because everybody talks about it on YouTube, and that's why I got it. This is just a really nice luminous, peachy, corally color, which is awesome for the summer and spring. It gives a beautiful glow to your cheeks. I'm not wearing it right now, but when I do, it just gives like a beautiful glow. And then I also wanted to mention the e.l.f. Baked Blush in Pinktastic. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in a favorites video before, but I've been loving this to highlight my cheekbones. I'm wearing it right now, and it just gives a beautiful highlight. It's awesome. Although I do have oily skin, I also feel like having a luminous, dewy look in the summer is really nice. If you have the right products to control your oil, I think your makeup could look amazing. The next product I want to talk about is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Plumper Brow Gel Mascara. I have this in the color medium dark, and I have been really liking this to just quickly fill in my brows, and I've been using this by itself lately. Whenever I go to work or anything really quickly, I just brush this to my brows, and this just gives a nice tint, makes it look a little bit more defined. This has a very similar concept to the Benefit Gimme Brow, which I love. Just for the sakes of comparison, this definitely has a more wet formula than the Benefit Gimme Brow. The Benefit one is definitely on the drier side, and it has more fibers and it looks a little bit more natural. This one is very wet. When you put this on your brows, it makes your brows very hard, so it definitely keeps them in place. But if you don't like how brow gels give you a hard feeling when you touch them, then you might not like this. The Benefit Gimme Brow does not do that. In my opinion, I do like the Benefit one more than this one, but I think that if you're on a budget, then this will do just fine. The last few makeup products I want to mention are lip products. The first one I want to mention is the ColourPop Lippie Stix in Lumiere. This one is the color that Kathleen Lights made with ColourPop, and I love it. This is a beautiful mauve color. If you watched my top 5 favorite everyday lip products, you would know that these kinds of colors are right up my alley. So I've been using this on a daily basis whenever I go to work, if I'm going out to the mall or whatever. I've been using this lip product the most this month. And then I also got the Gerard Cosmetics lipstick in 1995, which is the color that Jaclyn Hill created with Gerard Cosmetics, and I love this color. It's the color I'm wearing on my lips right now. This is just a brown nude. It's very pigmented, and it lasts for a really good amount of time. As is with the ColourPop lipstick, I forgot to mention, this lasts all day. It literally doesn't smudge or anything. You might have to touch up after you eat or something like that. But overall, this literally lasts all day, and I love it. It has a matte finish. The other lippy sticks that I got had a satin finish, and I feel like those don't last as long, and they also don't look as nice as the matte finish. What I've been loving to pair with the 1995 lipstick is the Revlon Color Stay Lip Liner in Nude. This is also a brown-based nude, so I think that this and this together look amazing. So on to some non-beauty favorites. I've been loving this Bath & Body Works candle in Lavender Vanilla. Reminds me a lot of Marshmallow Fireside from the winter collection. This has the same like musky scent to it, and it just makes you feel so cozy, and I love it. My sister hates this scent whenever I burn it, but I love it. The next thing I wanted to talk about is my favorite TV show. So I started watching Arrow earlier this month. I finished all 3 seasons. There is 3 seasons, right? Or is there 2? I don't really remember. But I finished all of it. I caught up in a really short amount of time, like maybe 2 weeks, which is like really sad, but I just binge watched that. I remember I finished like half a season in one day, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, but it happened. It was so addicting, and there are some good looking people on that show, let me tell you. My favorite character is Felicity. I think she is so funny and she's so quirky, and I love her character. And lastly, I wanted to talk about some book favorites because I have been reading so much lately. Basically, I got a job that is very laid back, and I have a lot of free time while on the job because all I really do is cash people out. So what I do in my free time is read, and I have read 5 books this month so far. That's how much free time I have. I wanted to mention 4 of the 5 books that I read this month because I really honestly love all of these. First ones I want to mention is the Rosie Project series. This is by Graeme Simsion, and I read the Rosie Project in one day, and I've never done that with a novel before. But this one was so good that I just kept reading it nonstop. It's a romantic comedy about a genetics professor that lacks a lot of social skills and interpersonal skills. He's actually a lot like Sheldon Cooper from The Big Bang Theory, but very different at the same time. He's not as annoying in my opinion. Reading about his perspective on falling in love and the things that he gets himself into and everything is just a really, really good read. So there's 2 parts to the series, the Rosie Project and then the Rosie Effect. I loved both of them so much, so I highly, highly recommend reading this if you want a really lighthearted, easy read for the summer. Highly recommend. And then I read Eleanor Park by Rainbow Rowell, and this one is about 2 teenagers that fall in love. I really feel like this book really captures those feelings of your first love, and it's very emotional, and it also deals with domestic violence, and this was definitely a page turner for me. I just wanted to finish it as fast as I could to see what would happen. And the great thing about this book is that the 2 characters that fall in love are very unconventional. You wouldn't think that these 2 people would find each other and fall in love. The last book that I want to mention is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I love John Green. He's one of my favorite authors. The first book that I read from him was The Fault in Our Stars, and that was an amazing book. And then I started reading all of his books. This one is about a teenage boy that goes to boarding school and makes a bunch of new friends and goes on all these adventures with them and stuff. And something really drastic happens that is really unexpected. I did not expect it to happen in this book, which I think is really great. And it just takes you through what the main character goes through while going through this tough time. And I think that a lot of teenagers can relate to this if you're ever feeling lost and feel like you don't have anywhere to fit in. Okay, so that is all for my favorites video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I talked so much in this video, but I hope that it was helpful for you guys who wanted to know a little bit more about some of these products that I mentioned, and I hope that you enjoyed my little book review, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!